The American film industry, number one, right? In the world. You know, the big budgets, the quality, the stories, the whispers of some saying the American empire itself is in decline, where America is in danger of losing its place as the leader of the free world. I'm not so sure about that, though the American film and television industry is declining, if you ask me. It's showing in the ratings, it's showing in the frequency of show cancellations, it's showing in the box office. Let's talk about why this may be happening. Stay tuned. I don't want to say it. Should I say it? The American film industry is declining in many ways. Looking at this article here, it's with the Hollywood Reporter, and this is just talking about theaters. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to read a few key points. This is what it says. Can movie theaters survive? It's the most enduring question in Hollywood. Box office is down, a cash crunch has hit pocketbooks, and a new media rival has exhibitors worried. Sounds a lot like the 1930s, when Great Depression era customers were running away from the venues. The exhibition end of the motion picture business, where moviegoers go when they leave their domiciles and travel through geographical space for a communal in-person experience before a big screen, is in trouble again. Whether at the repertory house or the multiplex, box office has not yet rebounded from the 1-2 punch of COVID-19 and Roku. First virus has lifted, but the second seems to have converted a huge slice of once loyal demo to the homebody comforts of digital streaming. At times last year, domestic revenue was down 40% from pre-pandemic 2019. Among motion picture exhibitors, there is a gnawing sense that the defection may be permanent, that the full houses and packed concession stands of the world before March 2020 may never be seen again at the same levels. Another article in the New York Times from 2021 reads, 49% of pandemic moviegoers are no longer buying tickets, while saying some of them, roughly 8%, have likely been lost forever. Well, they seem to be attributing this to the pandemic. Now, I understand that, but the pandemic is not the only reason why the theater attendance is declining. And I don't think that's the only reason. And this is the reason why I say that. Look at this article. This is a more recent article from S&P Global. This is from February 2024, and this is a few things it says. Cinema attendance in China has remained very stable over the past 4 years, according to Kagan's Consumer Insight surveys. Most other surveyed markets in Asia, Europe, and the U.S. showed a steep decline in 2020 due to the pandemic, followed by a gradual increase in attendance in each following year. The percentage of frequent moviegoers, those attending the cinema more than once a month, varies greatly from market to market, ranging from 49% in India to 15% in the U.S., with the exception of India. The percentage of frequent moviegoers has remained essentially flat or has declined over the past 4 years. China, negative 29 percentage points, and Sweden, negative 20 percentage points, showed the largest declines. Here's a chart of cinema attendance in China, Germany, the United States, and South Korea from the pandemic 2019 to 2023. As you can see, everybody declined from 2019 to the 2020, and everyone increased from 2020 to 2023. Out of everyone, look who has been in the last place since 2019. And this is what it's telling you. It's not the pandemic. You know why? Because it's not just in theaters. It is a decline in streaming as well. Look, in a New York Times article written in 2022, this is what it says. The never-ending supply of new programming that helped define the streaming era, spawning shows at a breakneck pace, but also overwhelming viewers with too many choices appears to finally be slowing. The number of adult scripted series ordered by TV networks and streaming companies aimed for U.S. audiences fell by 24% in the second half of this year, compared with the same period last year, according to Ampere Analysis, a research firm compared with 2019. It is a 40% drop. So it's television and film. And the decline is not because of the pandemic. I'm going to tell you the truth. To me, TV has gotten worse since the pandemic. I say since at least 2021, TV has gotten so bad. I'm thinking it's a conspiracy or something, like Illuminati is trying to bore us all to death or something. It's like Chinese torture, because theaters and shows, streamings, are down. And America has been in last place amongst many modern nations in viewership before the pandemic. And I'm going to tell you my view on the reasons why. One being the stories, the writing. We can put stories, creativity, and originality all in the same group. But I'm going to separate them too, because I'm going to go to just the writing first, right? You know, we recently had the writer's strike. I think that was May to the end of September in 2023. You know, and yeah, that was a horrible time in film and television when it came to having good movies and shows to watch. But this has been going on before May of 2023, which made me think those 11,000 writers possibly should have been replaced with new ones, or at least the ones that, you know, have failing projects under their belts, and bring in some new blood. Because like I always say, it's not working. Now this goes to creativity and originality. They're the same, but they're different, because originality is being able to come up with original ideas, good ideas, and creativity is being creative, but being able to create good ideas even if you're using unoriginal source material. So let's have an overview of a lot of what's going on in American TV and the movie industry. For one, originality is at an all-time low. Look at how many reboots and remakes have been made over the last, I say, 2 decades, or maybe longer. You know, how many Terminators remakes, Predator, Aliens, Mad Max, and so on and so on. You know, is it a lack of creativity, or is it just showing respect for these iconic films? Or is it just a money grab? Or maybe it's all the above. To me, these are more like safety zone projects. And it's so much of this is really deteriorating the quality of American film and TV, because a lot of the times there's one or two things happening. One, you're using these major iconic films, but, you know, it's a moderate budget or a small budget. Or two, it's just not a good script. So what do we got? It's little to no new classic iconic film titles being created in the movie industry for some time now. And simply, the writing sucks. So there's a creativity problem in Hollywood. And that's a bad place for a lack of creativity to be. You're the producer or the home of the most creative industry in America, but it's very little creativity coming out of there. And you ask, why is it such a steady decline in moviegoers? And it's not just because streaming, and it's not just because of the pandemic. And I'm going to tell you what it is. And I bet none of y'all thought about this. None of you movie execs thought about this. You want to know what it is? Wait for it. It's the movies. Listen, American film is this so-called blockbuster action films. It really needs to be reimagined altogether. You know, the whole structure of these films needs to be reimagined. The things that once made people tick 30 years ago, like, this is how you write the typical action film. Hollywood has a lot of writers, but very few artists. You know how to write, but you don't know how to create. And there's the problem. The creative content. You should want movies to have a rewatch effect, not a don't watch it all effect. And that's what's happening. I don't know about y'all, but my brain can't take too much more of it. That's why I don't watch it. We're not watching it, Hollywood. If we are watching it, it's because there's very little good options available. That's why viewership is decreasing, because people are not trying to waste their time. I think the human brain is evolving, and the movies has got to evolve. I don't know if they're trying to get us off the TV or what. Like I said earlier, it's like it's an Illuminati plot to bore us all to death, to make us go crazy or something. You know what I'm saying? But I want to be entertained. I want to watch good TV. The binge watching is at an all-time low. For some time now, I think about the first show that I binge watched, and that was Breaking Bad. I discovered it late. That came out in 2008, and it's been far in between since then, almost non-existent over the past 4 to 5 years. It's been very spotty. It's very few gems here and there, but scarce compared to the number of shows being produced. And the next thing you know, these writers and producers are at these award shows passing out awards for these movies that ain't bringing in profit. And there is another issue I'm having. I did mention that originality and creativity are the same, but they're different, being that even if you're doing a remake of a classic movie, book, or show, that's not the problem. But doing it creatively, aka doing it and making it good, is the desired result. If we did 100 remakes, I'm thinking maybe 70+% were forgettable, literally. We can't remember most of them. Many never even acknowledged in the first place. They will forever be lost in the void of film oblivion due to an uninspiring, unimaginative approach to the film. Now, that being said, that can be a double-edged sword, because in many cases, trying to be creative when remaking material can be a mistake, a big mistake. I think that if you're remaking a movie of a previous classic franchise, if it's a different story, just make sure the story is good. And apparently that's the difficult part, but it's necessary. Now, finally, if you're doing a movie or a show adaptation of a classic book or novel, don't be creative. For God's sake, please stop being creative. This gets under my skin unlike anything else, and I'm sure it's not just me. I say this about Marvel adaptations of comic books and character design. Please stick to the source material as much as possible. Don't add any new characters. Don't make any characters look totally different than we used to seeing them. And yes, I'm going to speak for everyone in the world right now. We hate that. Get it? So don't do it. Another thing, stop totally switching up stories and plots from classic books and novels. You hear me, Hollywood? Stop doing it. Stick to the original source material as possible. These books, these novels, many of them are multi-decade-long classics. You know why? Because they're good. They're good exactly the way they are. They're classic for so long because people love the stories. That story, not your story. You've never written a cult classic novel. Matter of fact, just write your own cult classic novel if you want to be creative. But don't get somebody else's classic work and try to be creative with it all of a sudden. Hollywood, your creative reputation is obviously in question. You got a lot of nerve messing with these classic novels and such. Honestly, the novel that comes to my mind is Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. Now, the first movie was a classic, but not too long ago they brought out the show adaptation, and I'm telling you, they totally butchered the story. They did that, and they did Mayfair Witches, and I'm not sure how much success they had, but I can guess. Another missed opportunity for a film and show adaptation of classic material. This is just another example of the egotistical, egocentric culture of Hollywood. It's not about the consumer. It's about Hollywood agenda, or maybe. Will these people ever stop is the question. Or will they continually be stubborn in the face of the lack of enthusiasm as well as decreasing profits? Will they listen? Will they try anything new? It's yet to be seen. But on that, I'm out. Y'all tell me what's your thoughts on the state of the American film industry. I'm interested in reading y'all thoughts. So On that note, peace out, and I'll see y'all next time.